Hey guys, I'm Tito and I'm one of the founders of JellySwap, which is a cross-chain atomic swap protocol where you can exchange, for example, Bitcoin for ETH or Bitcoin for some ERC20s. Today I want to show you how to set up our automated market making software called Butler, and you can earn some profit. And we are building an incentivized program for our liquidity providers. So we are going to pay like 1% for our first providers, 1% monthly, which is average annually about 12.6% on the liquidity that they're providing, which is a great interest, I believe, one of the best in the DeFi sphere. Let's start. I will attach these links in the description. But this is the most important guide that we are going to follow now. The URL is jellyswap.gitbook.io/butler. Let's start with what is Butler. It's automated market making software, which is specially designed to work with the JellySwap cross-chain atomic swap protocol, where you can provide liquidity on different pairs, for example, Bitcoin, ETH, DAI, USDC, Eternity or RAV-BTC, and you can even rebalance your portfolio on Binance or some other exchange if you decide. It's not needed. It's just an option. Here you can see that one of the requirements are Docker, or if you are going to install it manually, you have to set up MongoDB. I would recommend you to use the Docker version because, as you know, that's the idea of Docker to work on all kind of environments and to set up everything for you, and you will not have to take care of MongoDB and all the other setups like Node.js, Yarn, and so on. I've heard that there is some problem with Docker on Windows 10, but I hope that it will be resolved soon. As far as I know, Docker is not working easily on Windows 10 if it's not a Windows 10 Pro version or something like this. We have faced this problem a few times, but it's working very well on macOS. Currently, I'm doing this video on my Mac, and it's working pretty well on Linux-based systems. I have set up a few instances of Butler on some VPSs. So the first step is to open the repository and to download the latest version, which is this one in the master branch. It will be up to date, and we hope that everything will work fine. If we have some critical bugs or whatever, we'll just notify you via email or Telegram or whatever channel we are using. If you are a more advanced user, you can use Git clone and so on. If you are not that advanced user, you can just download the zip. I'll just download it for this video. But if you are interested, you can open your terminal, new window, just write git clone and paste the URL, and you will download it. You should do the same on Linux as well. So I've downloaded the beta version. I'll open it. When I'm inside the folder, there are a few things that we should do before we start Butler, but before that, let's open it. I would recommend you to use some text editor. For example, you can use Visual Studio Code or something like that. I'll open it in Visual Studio Code. Now I click on File, Open. You should navigate to the download directory. In that case, it should be, okay, it's here, but it's still on archive. So Jelly Master Beta. This is from 7th of April. Okay, I just opened the folder, and here you can see the project. This is the basic structure. We have the source folder, the config file. Here you can put some configurations, and if you're interested, you can check the source code as well. But in that case, if you just want to start the Docker and start providing liquidity, you don't have to go over this all. The most important file that we are going to change and use is the config file. Everything that you should do is only in that file. So let's see what do we have here. One of the things is the name of your liquidity provision node. You can put whatever you want. You can put your real name, but I don't recommend it. If you want, you can do it, but you can also use some nickname, for example, Dark Knight or something like that, whatever you decide. The aggregator URL is fine. These are some port and configurations, and most of the times you won't have to touch it. Here is a Docker configuration. It is taking some default port and password and so on. And I would recommend you to leave it like it is. Here are the networks that you want to support. For this video, I would like to start only with ETH and DAI to make some small demo. But if you want to support some other networks, you should put this flag to true. Here is USDC, and okay, I want to support only ETH and DAI for the initial version. Here you should put your ETH public and private address, the same for DAI, and the same for all other networks that you want to support. For the BTC, it's kind of different. You should put here your 12 words mnemonic. If you want to generate this mnemonic and to use it, you can use some software or wallets or whatever, or you can also use this method. Just go to app.jelly.market, and here you can generate some random words, for example, words, then click connect, and on more options, you can go to backup and you can use these words for your BTC wallet if you want a fresh one. Of course, be careful, because if someone steal your words or whatever, they will take control over your address. So maybe this is not the most secure way, but this is some option. And yeah, keep in mind that the Brain Wallet keeps your words only in your browser storage. It never comes to our servers or wherever. But if you have some malicious extension or some malicious software on your computer, they can steal your words. And for BTC, I can put, this should be the format, some kind of this. And for the address, you have to use the Bitcoin address that have been generated. We are not going to support BTC, but I just wanted to make an example. For ETH, you should put some public and private key. I'll use one address. Please don't steal my $0.2 from it. But I want to show you how it works, so it's better to put something real. The same thing for DAI. I would recommend you to use different addresses for DAI and ETH liquidity provision. It will be better if you are tracking your progress, how much did you exchange and what is your profit. And of course, the software is optimized to work with different addresses for all tokens. So if you put the same address here on ETH and DAI, it could be a problem. So just place different Ethereum addresses for the different tokens that you are going to provide liquidity. And at the end of the day, it is much more secure to diversify your tokens in different wallets, because if one of them is compromised, the others will be safe. The next configuration thing is the fee. This is the protocol fee that we are charging. JellySwap is not charging any fee, so the fee is set to 0, and it will be like this for the next few months or years. We will see. At the end of the day, if we have some fee, it will be spread between the liquidity providers and the people who are supporting the development of the project. Cover fees, this is one property that is optional. For example, if someone wants to execute swap against you, but he wants to exchange ETH for BTC, but he does not have any BTC, you can cover the transaction fee. Here are the pairs that we are going to support. In our case, we want to support ETH DAI, it is true, and we want to support DAI ETH, which is also true. We can put the rest to false because we don't want to support all these pairs, but only the two that I mentioned. If you want to add some other pairs, just come, change the configuration, and that's it. False. Here, false. You can leave it to true as well. It won't hurt anyone, but for example, if you want to support only ETH DAI and you have left ETH BTC to true, someone can exchange his BTC for your ETH, and probably you don't want it. So yeah, let's make it in the right way. DAI ETH is true and ETH DAI is true as well. That's what we want. Here is the exchange that we are going to use for rebalance. This is an optional parameter. So if you want to use Binance, put Binance. We are going to implement other connectors, but right now it's Binance because their trading fees are relatively low, and we decided that it is a good place to start with. If you don't want to rebalance your portfolio, you just can leave it blank or just put something meaningless. Here is the price of the coins that we want to pull from the price provider. Currently, we are interested in the price of USDT, BTC, ETH, TRX, DAI, 30 USDC. Here are some spreads that you want to earn on top of the market price. For example, for ETH, it is set to 0.08. This is just an example. Let's say to 0.02. This means 2%. For ETH DAI, we don't have any configuration, so it will take the default one, but which is almost 1%, 0.9%. But if you want to put some configuration, let's say I want the spread on ETH DAI to be 0.01, which is 1%, and on DAI ETH, I want the same percentage. You should define both of the pairs. DAI ETH, ETH DAI is 0.01. You can leave this because as long as they are not enabled in the networks, it won't take in the computation any of these. You can just leave it as it is. Here is a tolerance. This means that I want to take swaps which are with 1% spread, but at the worst case, even if the percentage is 0.5%, I will still take the deal. For example, yeah, you can think of this like the minimum border at which we are going to take the deal. And for, yeah, this is the desired one, 1%, and this is the minimum, which is a 0.5%. For the price provider, we have a few options. We have Crypto Compare, and for fallback, we have Binance. Or it's better if you are rebalancing on Binance to use Binance as primary one, and to use Crypto Compare as fallback. You should put the fallback to true and use it if you decide. Here is the update interval. This means how often is the price updated. 30 seconds is a lot, but I think that something between 1 to 10 seconds is fine. It depends if the price provider can handle that much requests. But let's say 10 seconds. I'm going to use for this example Crypto Compare, and for fallback, I'm going to use Crypto Compare again. It's better to use one provider for main and for fallback some other one. It means that if Crypto Compare is down, it will take the price from Binance. But this is only for the example purposes. Here you should set up the email if you want to receive some email notifications. You should put this one to true. We have tried with Gmail and it works pretty well, so I will recommend you to make some Gmail account and to use it to send you notifications. So here is the service Gmail username and password, which you are using to log in Gmail. From here you can put some message, for example, from Jelly service. To here is the email that you want to receive notifications to. For example, my email.gmail.com. This should be your real email where you want to receive the notifications. We also support a Swak webhook URL. So if you are using Swak regularly, you can put the webhook and you receive notifications every time when a swap is executed. Here you should put the Crypto Compare API that we are going to use for price provider. You can pretty easily generate an API key on Crypto Compare. You can see here in Butler, we gave a link, which is how to set up a Crypto Compare API key. Basically, you just have to register, and then you pretty easily find the API key. The free version is for 100K requests, and it will be enough if you're taking the price on every 10 to 20 seconds. So don't worry, you can take it from here for free. If you want to set up a Binance API key, you can also check this guide. And of course, it's pretty easy to take this Binance API key and put some restrictions to be able only to place orders and to take the price and to use the API. We are continuing with the config file. I'll put some Crypto Compare API. It is just for test purposes. Here is the Binance API key that you are going to use, but in this case, we are not going to use Binance known for price provider, and we are not going to use it for exchange. So this configuration is important only when we are using Binance for rebalance. Here are the pairs that we want to support. For example, if you are supporting ETH DAI and you want to rebalance in Binance, you can set to true, for example, ETH USDC, because in Binance they do not support DAI, and we are using USDC as alternative. Here is a duplicate price. Like I told you, in Binance they do not support DAI, so we said when we want to place order with DAI, just place it with USDT or USDC. And when we want to take the price of DAI from Binance, just give me the price of DAI, which is the price of USDC, which is in Binance. You can also use this configuration if you want to provide liquidity on Arab BTC. because it is not supported in most of the places. But as long as we know that the price of route BTC is equal to the price of BTC, you can just say, okay, when we want the price of route BTC, just take the price of BTC. When we are ready with that, we can save it. And you should open the terminal. If we follow the guide, the next step after the config is right is to write this command down. What it does, basically, it is giving rules. I mean, this is some permissions that you have to put if you are using Unix-based system. It is the same for Linux and the same for Mac OS. So you should give rights to this file, wait-4.sh, which is used by the Docker, and it should be executed. The second thing is to make a folder which is logs, where will be stored the logs. And the last thing is to just start the Docker and run it in the background. /d means daemon, which means run the service in background. Even if I stop the terminal or whatever, it will continue running. So I will copy this command, and when you copy the command, please don't copy this $sign. It is just placed here to just to know that this should be a command line command. So I copy the command, and I should go here and execute it. If I try to run the command right now, it won't start because my Docker service is not running. So let's open the Docker. It is loading here. It asks me for some updates, but I'm not interested right now. So Docker is starting. And when Docker is up, I just have to type this command. It could be a problem because I already did this, and it's possible that I have some image which is already existing with the name Butler and the name DB, but I hope that I have deleted all of them. I can open the terminal and just okay, let's start this and let's see what will happen. I have an error, obviously. It's the thing that I told you. We already have this image, and we have this this Docker container. So we should clean it. Docker system prune/a. Be careful with this command. It should be used only when you want to delete all the Dockers and images that you already have and that are not running at the moment. Okay, it is like this. Yes, I want to delete all images and containers and everything associated with them. And the second thing that I have to clean is Docker volume prune. This will clean the volumes. Everything is fine now, so if I run the same command that I typed a few seconds ago, it should start. But this time I won't make that directory because I already have it and I already give the permissions to this this directory. Now I click Docker compose up -d, and you can see that it is installing the system. It is setting the image for Butler. It is installing some dependencies. After that, it will install some npm packages that are used by the application. And after that, it will start the database. Butler will connect to this database, but you don't have to take care about this because everything is happening inside the Docker. One more thing that is important, as long as your Docker is running, you will be providing liquidity. If your Docker is down, you stop interacting with the JellySwap protocol. But even if that happens, for some reason you have an electricity outage or some other hardware problem or whatever, you still have 24 hours to put your system up. And if you have some pending withdrawals or refunds or whatever, you'll be able to execute them and you're not going to lose any funds. But like I said, you have 24 hours. So if you stop the butler in the middle of some transaction, just please put it up in the next 24 hours. If you don't have pending transactions or pending deals, you can stop butler application at any time and you are not going to lose anything. Here we have some stats website where you can track all the liquidity providers that are connected to the JellySwap protocol. Basically, these liquidity providers are the guys that have started Butler on their computers on some other cloud, and right after they are connected, they will add some liquidity here. And if you want to be more sure that everything is fine, you can go to providers. And for example, I can go to ETH and see all the providers that are providing liquidity on ETH. I can check all the providers that are providing liquidity on Eternity, on BTC, and so on DAI. We have one provider here. On USDC, one provider as well. On ETH, we have two providers. And yeah, that's how it works. Okay, Docker wants to access my files. Access them. Let's see what happened. It is installing everything. So the DB is created, Butler is created, and if I write Docker plus, you see that everything is looking like it's up and running. If you want to see some walks, you can type the command docker walks/f, for example, Butler. And you can see here that there is some error in the config file. Property TRX does not exist. So we should change the configuration file here. Yep, here in the networks, I should have the TRX false. Everything else looks fine. And when you update the config file, you should restart the Docker. So how to do it? Docker compose stop. Use this command to stop the Docker, and after that use Docker compose up/d. Now let's see the walks one more time. You can see that it is starting the price service, the balance task, input task, and everything seems to be up and running. If you want to confirm that everything is fine, we can go and let's check if the liquidity providers on ETH are more. Here you can see that there is one more provider, and this is my provider. Like I told you, I have it's so small that you can't even see it, but it is like $0.02. There is one other place where you can confirm that your instance is up and running. When I come here, I can see all the liquidity providers in network.jelly.market, API, V1, InfoGet. And here you can see my liquidity node that I started, which is called Dark Knight. Here are some of the configs. Of course, private keys or public keys, private keys are not exposed. Here you can see only some public keys on the network that I'm going to provide liquidity. And for the ETH, I have balance, which is 0.001 ETH, which is equal to $0.02 or something like that. And for DAI, I have nothing in this others. And that's it. Now I have the Butler app up and running, and I immediately appeared here as a liquidity provider. If you need any help to set up Butler, or you need to some help, you can directly contact us in Telegram or in Discord, and we can help you with that. You can start with the guide, and if you don't want to use Docker, you can set up it manually. You need some Node.js, Yarn, or NPM, and you need to set up a MongoDB database. Here are the risks that you can have. Of course, power outage, internet outage, hardware problem. If that happens and Butler is down, if you're not in the middle of some transaction or swap, everything is fine. But if you have some pending swaps or withdrawals or funds, then you have to put it up in the next 24 hours. Next problem that we can have is if you have some software bug, if the price provider is down, but because of that we have two price providers and we have fallback. If you cannot connect to the blockchain. Of course, all these problems will be a problem if you're in the middle of some swap or fund or withdraw. If you're just running it and this happens and you haven't provided, you're not in the process of some deal, nothing can happen. And market related risks, of course, when you're a market maker, even though everything is automated, if there are some pretty big price movements in the market, it could be a problem, but this is a problem related to the market and no one can predict it or stop it. Basically, in the common case, you can start Butler, you can put equal amounts in JellySwap and equal amounts in Binance, let's say, and you can rebalance your portfolio and provide liquidity. And at the end of the day, you have some profit from the spreads and you are not going to experience any losses. But this is in the common case, and if everything is fine. If there are some bugs or problems, it could be some losses, so use the software at your own risk. But as long as the risk is higher, like I told you, we are providing higher incentive for the liquidity providers. So everyone who start the Butler software, we will make a group about that and we will start a program. So it will be some rules, but in general, everyone who is running the software and is part of our liquidity providers network is going to receive 1% of the liquidity that he's provided, never mind if he have some swaps or not. And the second thing is that on top of that 1%, which you are going to pay for the first months to incentivize the liquidity providers, it will be another upside if you match with someone and you provide good spreads, then you earn this 1% from us, from our incentivized program, plus you will earn all the profits from the spreads. And these profits are going only to the best liquidity provider. So if you are one of the good ones, you take not only the 1%, but the bonuses from the spreads as well. Basically, that's it. That is how it works. I'll put the links of our Telegram and our Discord groups. So everyone who is interested to run the software can contact me, and I can even jump on a call to help. And we will release the news about our incentivized program for liquidity providers soon. The idea is that we are striving for 100K liquidity in the next month. We are going to pay 1% monthly interest to all the liquidity providers, which are following the rules that we'll write later. And manually, with the compound, this is around 12.6 annually percentage, which is one of the best percentages that I've seen in the DeFi space so far. And I think that this is a great incentive, and something that you should try. For our social links, you can go to jelly.market, and when you scroll down in the footer, you can see our social networks, and here is our Discord and Telegram group. You can contact me directly as well, or write to our Twitter account. All the development that we are doing, most of it is here in GitHub JellySwap. You can check all the HTLC contracts for the different networks, for ERC20, for Ethereum, for Bitcoin, and we are striving to be as transparent as possible and to describe everything clearly. So the video is long. It's too long now, so I think that it is enough. And if you need some help, yeah, just contact me and find all the useful links in the description of the video. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see more and more liquidity providers for Butler. That, of course, will receive some incentive and will help us to make this up and running, and to make this a strongly community-oriented project with a great usage for the liquidity providers, and as well for the takers who just want to swap their ETH for BTC in non-custodial, fast way, completely secure and transparent, and with one of the best rates on the market, not only for ETH BTC, but for BTC, USDC, and BTC DAI as well. Okay, thanks a lot, and yeah, let's keep in touch and start our butlers.